Welcome to Exolore, the show about facts-based fictional world building. I am your host and your facts-based fictional world builder, Dr. Moiya McTier, and today is an interesting episode where I will eventually be building a brand new fictional world from scratch, but there's an extra element, so
Welcome also to Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but want to be its friend.
Yay! And who are you?
I'm Corinne. Oh my god. I'm Corinne Caputo. I'm a writer. I'm a fun person, and I'm the co-host of Pale Blue Pod, if you've never met me.
Yay! So for those of you who are a little confused, if you don't know what's going on, today we're doing a crossover episode between my two podcasts, Exolore, which is about fictional world building, and Pale Blue Pod, which is all about the universe.
I love it.
I know, I love it too. So for those Pale Blue Pod fans who have never listened to an Exolore episode before, Corinne and I are going to be building a brand new fictional world from scratch. So imagining a totally other planet or moon or whatever, and imagining what the life on that world might be like. And for Exolorists who have never listened to Pale Blue Pod before, Corinne and I like to talk about all different aspects of the universe, but in a cozy way, and we record every episode in a brand new location. So today, in honor of the topic, we are recording at L2, at the second Lagrange point, about 1.5 million kilometers from Earth on the other side of the moon, where the JWST, where the Jelly Welly Space Telly lives, and will continue to live for the next 5-ish years. We are in a spacecraft. We're not just like floating in space.
No, we're protected. Don't worry.
Yeah. So if you hear any beep boops, that's for the good functioning.
That's totally normal.
Yes, it's a feature, not a bug. And I think we are going to really enjoy building a world from this location where we can see the world that usually we spend most of our time on, which is Earth.
Yeah. I've always wanted to see Earth from this perspective.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Once I did see it, I put on the Apple Vision Pro at the Apple Store, and I swear to God, I was on the moon.
How does this compare?
This is way cooler, but
Great.
I liked knowing I was actually on Earth last time. It felt
There
a
is
little
some comfort.
safer. Yep.
Well, our Pale Blue Pod transport machine has never crashed before.
So
it's
true.
never malfunctioned once, so I think we're pretty safe. And let's get into today's episode.
Yay!
So last week on Pale Blue Pod, Exolorist, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to the last episode about the James Webb Space Telescope. Today we're going to be talking about the first images that the JWST put out back in 2022. And then of those 4 images that we're going to talk about, Corinne is going to pick one of those images to inspire a world that we'll build in the second half of the episode.
Can't wait.
Me neither. So let's just get into it. I have 4 images here, although there was a 5th image that was a spectrum that JWST put out for a hot Jupiter planet, but I am going to just focus on like the visual images. So the first is the Ring Nebula, aka M57. Corinne, do you remember our conversation about the Messier catalog?
I do, yeah.
This is Messier object M57, also known as the Ring Nebula. And this is a planetary nebula, which confusingly has nothing to do with planets. That's just a misnomer. Astronomers have always been bad at naming things. But it is instead the remnant of a late-stage sun-like star. The Ring Nebula is about 2,000 light-years away in the constellation Lyra, and it's best seen in August. So around now. It was discovered by a French astronomer, Antoine Darquier de Pellepoix, in 1779. That is
was
the
a
fastest
fun pronunciation. You did a good job with that.
Thank you. I practiced. And the image, if you look it up, it's stunning. It shows in the center there's a little white dot, and that's a white dwarf. So that's a star, like our sun, that has gone through most of its evolutionary phases. It's stopped fusing most of the hydrogen in its core. It puffed up into a red giant, and then it removed all of its outer layers. And those outer layers are the beautiful, like, colorful ring that we see around in this image. So for this world, I would want us to imagine a planet that orbits a white dwarf. I don't think I've done that on Exolore before, but we have found these out in space. We've even found some planets that orbit in the habitable zones of their white dwarf host stars. And simulations show that after that red giant phase for sun-like stars, planets can migrate. So they can move closer to the star after it gets smaller.
That is fun to me that they get closer after an event. That's cozy to me.
It is cozy. It's like, let's get close to the fire, you know?
Exactly.
We're chilly. All right. The next image is from the Carina Nebula, and it's called the Cosmic Cliffs. This is one of the images that Hubble took, but then JWST just one-upped Hubble and gave us even more detailed view of this nebula. This is not a planetary nebula.
Okay.
But it also has nothing to do with planets. This is a stellar nursery. This is a place where new stars are being born.
Aww.
Yeah, so it's a young star-forming region in the Carina Nebula, which is also called NGC 3324, because so many objects in space have multiple names. The Carina Nebula is about 7,500 light years away from us, and this cliff appearance, this like jagged tube appearance that you see, that's created by strong ultraviolet radiation and stellar winds coming off of these stars, basically blasting away the gas and dust in that area.
Oh, okay. Because it kind of looks like a mountain range to me, or like something in the, like I could picture it in a horizon of like on Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people compare it to mountain ranges. That's why it's called the Cosmic Cliffs. But each one of those mountain-looking things is 7 light years long.
Wow, that's so much bigger than I thought.
Yeah, so the scale of this image, we have to remember, it's huge. That one image encompasses a space way larger than our solar system. And so it's hard to tell that, though, in the image.
Yeah.
But for this, I would want us to imagine a planet in a dense stellar neighborhood that has a lot of radiation. And I did something similar to that in my Ever-Changing Night Sky episode that ended up having spider wizards on it. But this would be very different because the sky wouldn't always be changing. You're still in the same position relative to all those other stars, but there just are a lot around you. The third image is Stephen's Quintet, which I know we've talked about on Pale Blue
this
Pod
one
before.
I remember.
We talked about it in our Galaxy Merger episode, but this image is 4 galaxies that are actively merging with each other, and then there's a fifth, voyeur galaxy in the foreground that's just watching what's going on. We've known about this cluster of galaxies for a long time. It's one of the most studied clusters because it helps us understand galaxy mergers better. But it was discovered in 1877 by another French scientist, Edouard Stéphan, who was the former director of the Marseille Observatory in France. So for this one, I would want us to imagine a world that's literally sitting in the center of all of these merging galaxies. So it would be a pretty dynamically chaotic place, but very bright in the night sky. So if you picture the path of the Milky Way, that's easier to see in the southern hemisphere, the whole sky would look like that.
Whoa, that's very cool to me.
And the reason our whole sky doesn't look like that is because we live in a disky galaxy where most of the stuff is in one flat-ish plane. And so most of the sky that we can see is above and below that plane. So it's only in a few very special spots that you get a nice view of the plane of the Milky Way, or like the spiral arms in the Milky Way. But this planet, if we decide to build it out, would see that everywhere.
Cool. That's appealing.
And then the fourth image and the fourth option you have, Corinne, is the JWST deep field, which took a long exposure picture of the very distant universe. This was an update to the Hubble Deep Field, which I think we may have talked about before on Pale Blue Pod. And it reveals thousands of distant galaxies in a tiny, teeny patch of sky. But the image also shows a gravitational lens effect. There's a really massive galaxy cluster near the center of this image, and it bends light from all of the galaxies behind it towards us so that we can see them better. And we've noticed that those distant galaxies look irregular and clumpy, which indicates that they're from a time that astronomers call cosmic spring. This is when galaxies were in bloom and they were actively getting bigger. So for this, I would want us to imagine a planet that was from the very early moments of the universe, like one of the first planets ever formed. And what I know about the early universe is that it would have had fewer heavy elements than we have now, because those heavy elements take time to form in the cores of stars and through dramatic merger events. So when you have few heavy metals, you're more likely to have a gas planet like Jupiter or Saturn than a rocky planet, because those gas planets are mostly hydrogen and helium anyway. And early in the universe, most stars were a lot more massive than our sun. Mm-hmm. We're still trying to figure out why. It could just be that the hydrogen and helium that those first stars were made of, it's just like better at accumulating quickly. Yeah. So let's imagine a Jupiter or Saturn-like planet that's orbiting a star 100 times the mass of our sun.
Whoa, that seems like fun to imagine too.
I know, it's a hard choice. So between the planet orbiting the white dwarf, the planet with lots of radiation, the planet with the bright night sky, or the gas planet with the hot star, what are you most interested in?
I think I'm personally most curious about seeing that much at night.
Okay.
But I'm wondering if it would be more fun to imagine a huge sun.
We could put a planet in that scenario around a very large star.
Let's do that.
Okay. So we're going to combine. We're going to do Stephen's quintet, imagining a world in the middle of all of these merging galaxies, but we're going to put it around a big star.
I'm so excited. So I have to ask about this. The photo of Stephen's quintet, is it colorized so that, like, because to me it looks like there's all kinds, like each of these galaxies has its own personality already and they're coming together. But are they just doing that so I can see the difference of like where one galaxy ends and begins?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure how they would have colored that image, but typically we color images based on either temperature of the gas involved or what type of gas there is, like oxygen versus hydrogen or whatever.
Gotcha.
I do know that when you're looking at the nebulae, they are separating, like the colors mean different elements, but I think both would work to distinguish the galaxies without the astronomers who process the images intentionally trying to separate the galaxies for viewers, because they would have slightly different chemical profiles and they would have slightly different temperatures because they're different galaxies.
Cool. Okay.
All right. Well, then let's get into world building.
Let's do it.
Corinne, you're in great hands. I have a process. I can guide you through it. But the first step of the process is for you to tell me what kind of world you would like to build. And that could mean like a genre you're going for or a certain theme or something that you'd like to explore with this exercise.
Sure. I think I want a world that is more about making art than it is about working. And I kind of want to know what that's like if we put it at the center.
Yeah. Okay. So a world where art is prioritized over like science,
and not in like a productivity way, but like just a way where like you're not worried about your needs getting met and you get to just like do what you want.
Okay, so we're talking about like a UBI world.
Yeah.
A world where necessities are covered and people get to work at the top of that hierarchy of needs, where they're self-actualizing, they're having fun, they're creating beautiful stuff just for the sake of it. Yeah,
and it's not a competitive environment.
Great. Okay. It sounds like you're going for a very like peaceful
It is
world.
Peaceful. It feels peaceful. It feels welcoming and friendly.
Love.
But not creepy. because I think sometimes when places are cool like that, at least in the movies, there's something up.
Mm-hmm. Like the lottery?
Yes. It's not like Utopia, except for this one day a year where we do this crazy thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So like a true utopia.
Yeah.
Great. We can do that, for sure. Are there any elements from like fictional worlds that you have read or seen already that you would like to bring in?
Did you watch Scavenger's Reign?
No, but I've been told
you should.
About it.
It's now on Netflix. It was on HBO. It's really excellent. And one thing I loved about the world of it was that every kind of plant and things they interact with has like a purpose. Like you can use this thing as a tool, or you can use this thing as like medicine, and I don't think it's exclusive to that show in any way, but I like using the kind of gifts of this planet to further your community in some way.
Okay. So everything that's in the environment, people can find a use for.
Yeah.
And they use it sustainably.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, we can absolutely incorporate that. Nice.
Yay.
Great. Now let's move on to discussing the like big differences between this world and ours. We've already established like the big astronomical differences, right? It's in this other galaxy. It has a much bigger and hotter sun host star than we do. But what other differences are you interested in exploring? Like magic or a different technology that they might have, or like anything. The sky is the
really
limit.
Fun to think about. My brain has a hard time imagining something too far away from like my current reality.
Cool.
So this might be a struggle for me, but I think I would love. This is a peaceful world, so it's hard to imagine like the need to get to places quickly. But I think in my current life, I wish that we prioritized like high-speed rail, or just like, I don't know, making people's commutes tolerable. I feel like we really put that at the bottom of the list. 'Cause it's like, well, what are you going to do? Not go to work? So I do think it would be nice if we could prioritize comfort when you're doing the things you have to do anyway.
Okay. Yeah, that goes in line with having a very peaceful, relaxing utopia type of world. Specifically on the commuting part, I do know why you went there. I get it. Would you be interested in inserting some sort of teleportation ability, whether that's natural or supernatural on this world?
I think that it's not teleportation. It's like some kind of lovely train ride, because that is what I like regularly. But I think there is something to like decompression time or like transition periods. I'm not taking away I don't want to take away that kind of meditative moment. I just want to shorten it to something reasonable. And it's not like there's no delays on the train. Imagine that. And they're not hot. And they're not cold, and they come when they say they will. And you get to experience like the landscapes, and let's say this night sky is really nice. You're in that kind of skylight car on this train.
Every car is the skylight car.
Yes. So that's a thing that I think would make a great life.
Yeah. From that, what I'm hearing is a cultural rejection of hurry. Because I think a lot of the annoying things in commute actually comes from people trying to rush. Like you get delays on trains because people were rushing and they held open the door, whatever.
Yes.
So in a world where no one is rushing to get anywhere, you can have train systems that run totally on time. And then if you have a 20-hour train ride, that's totally fine. You're going to relax. They'll have all the food or whatever you need. You get to see the sights. Sounds beautiful.
Yeah, that would really change my life if that was true here.
Okay, so no rushing.
Yeah, we're not in a rush.
There are so many ways that can be brought into the world as a cultural thing, and we can also build it into the environment. Because there are things you can do with astronomy that will just change perceptions of time.
Okay, cool. I love that.
Okay. Any other big differences you want to hold on to in this world?
Well, I mentioned money thing. I think I want to do away with class. I think I'm very frustrated by the inability to move up. I think that is really rude and bad, and no hoarding of resources or wealth, because it's just evil.
Yeah, agreed. And not necessary.
Yeah. And also no TikTok, because it's too much of a vice for me.
Do you ever want them to reach technological advancement in the way that we have with like electricity?
I love electricity. I think yes to that.
So they can develop electrical devices.
Yeah, and I think for me, community is a big part of this, and feeling like you're in touch. So I want people to have like kind of modern ways to communicate and FaceTime. Or maybe not FaceTime, but like you can travel and not lose touch with people, because that's a tenet of the people.
Okay. I'm going to throw something out there that we can get to later, but how do you feel about a hive mind situation?
Ooh, that kind of scares me.
Okay. Because I'm just thinking that would be a nice way to kind of flatten a hierarchy in society. It would be a way, depending on how you build it up, they could have more of an idea of what other people in the hive mind are feeling or thinking. You know,
you might be right. Maybe it's not complete transparency into people's minds, but just like a vibe check.
A vibe check, yeah.
Because I think privacy is important too. We're building Corinne's favorite world. Something I'm trying to make.
Aw, that is the whole purpose of Exolore, is to help people imagine the worlds that they want to exist. Okay, so it's a peaceful utopia world, no rushing, community's important. They do eventually develop technology, but all of the technology, let's say, is in service of those values and ideals.
Yeah.
Lovely. And we're open to hive minding, but it's a little scary, so let's come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back. I might need to warm up too.
Okay. Then let's start with the environment.
Okay.
For Pale Blue Pod listeners who are new to Exolore, I've been developing this process for building a fictional world from scratch for almost a decade, and it is inspired by the way that nature builds actual worlds. What we see out in nature is that the physical environment forms. If any life forms emerge, then they will adapt to their specific environmental context. And then those life forms might form behaviors or cultures that depend on what they need to do to biologically survive and what they have available in their environment. So we are going to go through in that order, figuring out the environment and then the biology and then the culture of these life forms. These life forms most likely will not be human, because this is going to be a very different type of environment, but we'll see what Corinne's creative brain comes up with.
They look exactly like people, and they're all named Corinne.
We can make a whole planet of Corinnes. We totally can.
No, that would be horrible.
Okay, we'll see what happens when we get to biology. Hey there, Dr. Moiya here. Corinne went off to change the flux capacitor in our ship. Don't worry, it's a routine adjustment. She's done it many times. But I figured now would be a good time to thank our patrons who support the show every single month financially, with a huge special thank you to our sun-like stars, Scott Reynolds, Ian O'Leary, Augustin, and Tom T. We love you so much. If you are not already one of our patrons, then you should know that by joining our Patreon, you would get to hear your name on the show. You might make your mark on our patron star chart, and you would definitely get research notes for every single episode that we do, all by supporting us on Patreon for just about $1 per episode. And if you sign up for an annual membership, then you get a 13% discount across your entire year. That's 1 percentage point for every constellation along the sun's path in the sky. You can find our star chart, our Patreon info, and more at our website, palebluepod.com, or you can go right to patreon.com/palebluepod if you already know you want to support us financially. And if that's not something you can do right now, that's totally fine. You're still space, and we love you very much. There are other ways that you can support the show and help us grow. You can rate and review the show on whatever app you choose. I personally love reading every review that comes through. You can also share the show with your friends by actually taking a link and sending it to someone who you think would like that specific episode, get them hooked, and then they'll listen to all the rest. But again, you can support us at patreon.com/palebluepod. Okay, I also have a podcast recommendation for you. It's another show in the Multitude Collective, and it's called Big Game Hunger. This is a weekly comedy show where Jenna Stieber and friends craft the next big video game every single episode. They start with a randomly generated genre, concept, and vibe, and Jenna and a variety of funny and game-obsessed guests will then take these ideas far enough that they could totally pitch it to a shadowy board of rich investors. And by the end of the episode, they will have honed an IP so irresistible that you will totally be ready to spend $25 for it on Steam, but don't worry, none of these will ever actually make their release date. They still will make you laugh, and they'll teach you about games that you love and about game trends, and you'll just get to enjoy a fun time of funny, creative people laughing and learning together. New episodes come out every Monday, and you can find them by searching for Big Game Hunger in whatever app you choose. Okay, Corinne is back. Let's get on with the episode. For environment, we have already decided that we are in the middle of 4 merging galaxies. Some immediate consequences of that are that the sky is really bright.
Yeah.
And whatever type of star we're orbiting, it itself is probably on a pretty chaotic orbit. So it's not going in a circular path around one simple galaxy. It's most likely being pushed and pulled around. So like the way ancient humans developed astronomy and the zodiac based on predictable patterns in the night sky, they don't really have that.
Oh, okay.
But they do see a lot of astronomy around them. So I think that they would still develop an interest. They just wouldn't have the timekeeping parts of astronomy the same way we do.
Interesting. That is something that I do like about my real life sky. How do they experience time?
How do they experience time? That is up to us to decide. We can put in some seasons that are just dependent on the relationship between the planet and its star. So that won't depend on what's going on outside of that system. But you did say you wanted time to be something that they don't rush through.
Right.
So I think if time is pretty unpredictable, or if it's not easy to track time on certain timescales, then that would lead to that type of behavior.
Well, that's perfect.
Great. So let's say that they have seasons on their world, so they can measure some time passing, but they don't have like seconds and hours like we do because their sky looks totally different, and it's not as easy to measure the seconds and hours. They can measure months.
Okay.
But they can't really measure minutes or years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they could measure years being like, it's been this many months, like we know we've made an orbit, but the sky doesn't return to the same thing at the same time every year.
Interesting. So it's not exactly your birthday. or it's not exactly, I don't know, any of the astrology as we know it.
Right, yeah, they don't have astrology the way we do, or if they do, then it would have to be... It wouldn't be astro-based. It would be more local.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. We have also decided that it orbits a star much larger than ours. So the star is really bright, and it's also not going to live as long as our sun. Our sun's going to live about 10 billion years total. We're halfway through. This other star, if it's, let's say, 50 times the mass of our sun, will live, it will fuse in its core for, let's say, let's give the life forms a chance. Let's say 100 million years, which is
give them a
pushing
chance.
it. Let's try.
Wow, that's a lot shorter.
Yeah. We could say 1 billion years. Let's really push it These massive stars don't live very long before they go supernova.
Okay.
But let's push it and say that this star gets 1 billion years, just because life takes time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Although there are so many stars around that if they realize their star is going to explode, they can move somewhere else, maybe.
Yes. Okay. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a busy neighborhood. We can always hop over to a new building.
Yes. Which is interesting because we've now introduced this, like, long-term time crunch.
Yep.
But if they already have a culture for so long of not rushing, I think that they wouldn't then rush that.
No, that would be decided and it would be fluid.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and if they're technologically advanced, then they would be able to see it coming fairly early on.
Or that would be an interesting moment to meet them when in a movie where they now need to rush for the first time in their existence.
Oh, yes. Which of those is intriguing to you?
I think suddenly needing to rush when you're a culture that doesn't is interesting. Because it feels very Pixar to me. Like there's one person in the community who's like, no, listen to me. And they're like, you're crazy. You have a personality trait that none of us have.
Okay, great. Then let's say about 200 million years before this star is going to start to explode, or like very, very soon before, an alien species comes by, makes contact. It could just be like a few representatives from an alien species. Yeah. And then the story can continue from there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let's get into the details of this world itself. How Earth-like do you want the world to be, even though it's in this very different context?
Well, I don't know if it's possible, but I think that water is important for fun.
Okay, let's do water.
I love how many different kinds of climate we have on Earth of like, you know, these green, lush forests and these very creepy deserts. I think that it would be great for this planet to have like a huge variety, especially if they have this technology that lets you essentially like take the scenic route. If there was like just a lot of variety in that scenery. Okay,
so we're talking an ecologically diverse world.
Yes.
Love that. So there are oceans, there are continents. Do you want to add any other type of ecosystem?
Like something I don't know about.
Yeah. You know, like you could make like a crystal forest. You could make like a magnetic field lake if you want. Like
suggestions are what I need.
Okay, great.
I love crystal forest. That sounds crazy. That sounds like where you like discover yourself.
Okay, so there's a crystal forest. Maybe it like resonates at certain frequencies depending on what type of stars are in the sky at the time, or like what's going on inside the planet at that time.
Maybe you hear music.
Yes, you definitely hear music in the crystal forest.
Depending on what stars are out, and some people have favorite songs, and they might not hear it again.
That's so nice. That could be another way that they like kind of keep track of time.
Yeah.
But it's a way that they can only stumble upon. Like they can stumble upon it and be like, oh, I remember this time. Yeah. We've been here before.
Exactly.
Or we've been somewhere similar.
Exactly.
Nice. Anything else?
My brain is really going to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which doesn't make any sense. But I love rain, personally. I think it's important to hear rain.
Yes.
And I think that would be fun if there's some kind of raining of something that is a special thing or people appreciate.
So you want rain that isn't just water rain?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it's not water. Maybe it's something else.
So the rain cycle we have here is the whole evaporation, condensation, precipitation cycle, and that gives us water rain because most of the liquid on our surface, on Earth's surface, is water. You did say you want water on this world.
I do.
We could put maybe like a huge ocean of some other liquid, maybe at one of the poles, so that in a localized region, the evaporation, condensation, precipitation cycle is like gallium or something, like mercury or something.
Yeah, that's fun.
Okay. So let's do mercury rain, and also remember that mercury does not poison them.
Yeah, of course not. This is too nice a place.
Yes. And if anything, I feel like the mercury rain should give them something.
Yeah.
Like, it should be nice.
It should be nice. It should be energizing or calming. I'm not sure which.
Okay. So mercury to them is like a Xanax, like a
yeah, maybe it's
relaxer.
Like smoking weed.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
some are reacting in a anxious way, but some are like, no, that's what I needed.
People just swimming in the mercury lakes.
And there's mercury chasers and
Yeah. I love that so much. Okay, so this is a world that's very similar to Earth, but with some nice whimsical additions.
Yes.
There are some extra ecosystems, and there are some extra weather patterns, but they all kind of work similar to what we have here on Earth. Great. Do you want there to be any extra types of resources, like any additional type of mineral around, or maybe something in the air that they do something with?
Yeah. Let's see, what can we put in the air?
I'm thinking about their biological needs right now.
Yeah.
And since we want it to be a world where all of their needs are provided for, we could set that up in a couple ways. We could set that up culturally, but that's difficult.
Okay.
If we set it up in their environment and bio, then it's a little easier, like
Sure.
if they, for example, don't have to actively eat, if they can do something like photosynthesis.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
So if there's some extra like element in their atmosphere that's like a fuel source that they can passively respirate.
That's great idea. Yeah. So they do it with the sun? With the air?
The star is very energetic.
Yeah.
It could give them a lot of energy, and maybe
They need
there's
to be able to tolerate it.
yeah. Maybe there's some element X in their atmosphere.
Perfect.
That when they breathe it in and it reacts with like sun exposure, produces their equivalent of like glucose or something.
Yeah, let's say the mercury rain chills them out. This thing keeps them up.
What if all of their nutrients are received passively? So instead of eating, they like wipe salves and like lotions on their body.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. So they can technically be sated just passively breathing. But
Yep.
if they want extra things,
And who
they
doesn't?
can like, who doesn't? Yeah, they can make like a pomegranate lotion, and then they're like eating the pomegranate.
Yep.
So
I love
just
that.
picked that out of nowhere, but okay, great. So there's chemical X in the atmosphere, and it's not going to make the Powerpuff Girls, but it is going to make these creatures able to just passively gain fuel.
I wish I could do that.
I know, me too. I hate that I'm responsible for all of my meals every single day.
It's getting boring.
I'm so over it. Like, I understand the whole, like, Soylent diet now. I would
Yeah.
do it just to make it easy on myself.
You hit a point where you're like, it's time for that. Or even if every other week, see, this is like the community mindset. I just need to pass this off. Like, I just can't do it every day. We
Yeah.
all take a day, potluck style life,
That would be perfect.
one day.
One day. And in this world, they don't even need to worry about that.
No, not at all. It's never even occurred to them that you would need to do that.
Right. Okay. I feel pretty good about the environment that we've built out.
Yay.
Let's move on to their biological characteristics.
Okay.
In an environment where, there are all of these different ecosystems, so you probably have to be good at adapting to different contexts. And it's really bright around, and there are regular seasons. I guess we didn't talk about what the seasons would be. But there are regular seasons, but there aren't regular years.
Okay.
Let's think about their physical characteristics. Let's say that the seasons are pretty much Earth. seasons. They range in temperature. Some seasons are wetter than others. Maybe there are other like creatures around at different times of the year because of exposure to the sun's radiation. But it's not like there are under-resourced and over-resourced seasons because, they don't eat plants or anything.
Right. It's not like the kind of harvests we might have.
Yeah. So there are a couple different ways we can approach this. We can start with an animal here on Earth as the base and then deviate from there. Or you can name some features that you really want this thing to have, and then we can Frankenstein it together. Do you want it to have any extra senses?
Ooh. Well, I feel like the hive mind is a bit of an intuition sense. Like there's some element there.
So you do want to do the hive mind?
I think I do. I think it's not a full hive mind the way that everything's super transparent or controlled. But I feel like in our actual world, there's all these surveys that get conducted to take the temperature of what the people are thinking and feeling. And I think it's more of no, we all know what's going on. Everyone can kind of figure out how we're all feeling.
If it's really just about kind of the empathy of it all.
Yeah.
We can remove the hive mind aspect and we can make their feelings somehow visible on their bodies.
Ooh, that's a fun idea.
They are made of mood ring material.
Yeah, they're made of mood rings.
Okay.
But no one's shaming anyone.
Oh, no. Because everyone has had all of their emotions on display all the time.
I'm immediately picturing this black market where you can figure out how to hide how you feel.
Or some of those salves and lotions. Some of them are food, but some of them are also disguises.
Right, exactly.
So that you look happy all the time. Okay, I love that. So now I'm thinking kind of chameleons.
Ooh, that's fun and beautiful.
And I think the radiation coming off of this star, there's going to be so much ultraviolet and gamma radiation coming that they might need something like scales to protect them from it.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so they have chromatophores. They can change their coloring, not at will, but probably by some temperature, and
sure.
when you're angry, you're hot. When you're happy, you're cooler. So
sure, yeah.
So temperature and hormones. Let's give them that. What about their shape? What kind of shape do you want them to have as they are moving through this world?
I'm picturing no sharp edges, very kind of rounded being.
What do you want its limbs to look like? How does it manipulate the world around it?
I am most familiar with fingers, so I feel like it has some kind of tentacle, or I'm picturing an octopus ability to wrap around something and very fluid motion.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, so tentacles.
Yeah.
Nice. Tentacles, as they are much better suited to a buoyant environment.
So true.
And aren't very good at moving around on firmer ground.
Right.
Maybe tails is what you're looking for?
Yeah, I like that.
Dexterous tails?
Yeah.
Okay, we can give them as many of those as you want.
I feel like maybe 2 of those.
Great. 2 dexterous tails so they can grab onto things and move around. Do you want them to have legs and arms?
I think 2 tails, 2 arms, 2 legs.
Great.
It's how someone might exist today, but you can kind of just pass your tail something to hold while you do something else.
Great. Where are the tails? Where do they come out?
Maybe where wings would be, on an angel, from the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. Okay. So kind of humanoid.
Yes, humanoid.
So picture a human chameleon with 2 tails coming out of what would be shoulder blades.
Yeah, and they're kind of hovering above.
Yeah, and they can move them independently.
Yes.
And they're quite strong, I'm imagining.
Oh yeah, very strong, but not bulky.
Yes. Great. Okay, I think we are in agreement. I would like to return to the senses question, to the perception. It's a bright world, so I imagine they can see just fine.
Yes.
Do you want them to have all of the other senses we do?
Yes. I don't think we have any senses that I would want to get rid of. And I'm trying to think of what, if I could add a sense to my life, what would it be?
I feel like we should add extra color perception to their vision so they can see really minute changes in each other's moods.
That's a great idea. They should definitely have that.
And it will also help them see really minute changes in the sky around them.
That's a great call. Then they can really take in the view.
Yeah, they're quite observant when it comes to fine detail. So lots of cones, lots of receptors, visual receptors. Any extra thing? You know, like a wild fact that never fails to boggle my mind is that we don't actually have a sense for wetness. Like we can just tell temperature and pressure. Like similarly, like, do you want them to have a perception for like glitteriness of something's aura? Like any wild thing.
I've never even thought about not having a sense for wetness. I'm just like, well, I can tell if something's wet.
Right. But you can't if it's perfectly body temperature.
You're right. That's why it feels so good in some bodies of water. I think for the crystal forest, some kind of enhanced like shine or shimmer perception or like that would be very cool.
Yeah. So we see in the part of the electromagnetic spectrum that our sun is most active in. I imagine the same for them. But maybe the parts outside of the electromagnetic spectrum, they don't see it, but maybe they can like feel it. Almost like an electric buzz.
That could be cool.
Yeah. So like when there are radio waves, they can feel them.
Fun.
Yeah.
I hope they like it.
I know. Well, I hope I would hope it feels like a little tingle, just a pleasant,
like a breeze.
Massage. Yeah. And the different frequencies maybe like feel different to them. So radio waves maybe do like a deep tissue tingle, while the microwaves or let's go higher above. The gamma rays are like a surface tingling, like when your foot falls asleep, but not unpleasant.
But not unpleasant, yeah. That is great.
Awesome. I feel like it's really important to discuss this whenever we're talking about biology because it leads really well into culture and family units. How do we think they would reproduce? What would that look like for them? Like, do they get pregnant and like carry to term inside? Do they lay eggs somewhere else? Like, do they clone themselves?
So I think what's appealing about laying an egg is like perhaps a collaborative way to care for the incubation period. And I do want it to be like we're all sharing the load of staying alive. So there's something about the partnership of that to me that is very appealing.
Absolutely. This is like alloparenting, which is one of my favorite ways to design a society on Exolore, where and it's especially well suited to external fertilization. So if you lay an egg and that gets fertilized in some sort of community pool, then you never know like which child belongs to which parent. So everyone raises everyone. Yeah.
That's very sweet.
All right, so let's do that and let that carry us into the culture section. We've already established that you want them to really value community, that they really value art, and that they don't rush when it comes to time. So those are some values we've established. I imagine part of community values is like, you know, especially since they can tell what other people are feeling, you know, really being sensitive to other people's needs. And you also said you wanted it to be a flat society without a class hierarchy.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I think people can be like leaders in some like spaces, but it's not like some people have access to things that others don't.
I like that. Is there ownership and possession on this world?
I'm trying to imagine me without that, and I wouldn't like it. But maybe they have no taste for that. I think people have their own private spaces. Or, you know, these beings have their own private spaces where you can be alone and no one, and it's not, you would never expect somebody to like come in. but I don't think we like hoard.
Yeah. I think the private spaces would be really important for like, personal reflection.
Yeah,
which
I like
they
that.
probably value.
Yes.
I asked about ownership because I was wondering about inheritance on this world. And, the way it happened here on Earth, once we established possession and lines of inheritance, that's what led to the hoarding and everything. So,
yeah.
But if we don't really have a sense of firm possession, maybe something is never yours, but for a brief period of time, you can be the caretaker of something.
I like that. I think that's great.
And then when you're done, or when someone else needs it, you can pass it on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. What do you think some typical roles might be in this society? How would people be asked to spend their time?
I think we're all taking turns between the things we might have to do. Like, maybe that's like tidying or babysitting or things like that. But I think that some people really enjoy that and some people really don't. So you kind of, I'm picturing like a food co-op, except you can kind of do the activities you want to do. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
And hopefully there's enough to fill the role. But I think they also if not enough people have stepped up to, I don't know, babysit, then it is like noble and respected that you would like step into a role you aren't excited about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. How large are their societies? How many of these chameleon people live together?
That's a great question. I'm feeling like they're all over in all the different climates. Mm-hmm. Maybe like 100 an area. Mm-hmm. But like you could be neighboring and close but you still have your like pod.
Oh, cool. Okay, I think that's a decent size.
Yeah.
How long should they live?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Like, do you want this population to stay fairly steady, or do you want it to increase or decrease over time?
I think it increases over time.
As much as ours did?
Yes. Let's say yes.
Okay. But because especially food is like a big resource limiting factor here.
Yeah.
They don't have that same problem.
Right. So it's not like things are going without.
So this 100-person community will eventually balloon.
Get much larger. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But I still think that because the world provides so much for them and there's this established culture of like not rushing and they can see what other people are feeling, I think even with many people in a small space, there wouldn't be that much conflict arising.
Yeah, I don't think I would agree with that. I don't see a lot of conflict here. I think people can have preferences. It's just not going to culminate in some kind of destructive act.
Yeah. So I think another role might be a mediator. That's well respected in this world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Let's talk about recreation. And I think this is a good place to bring in art because you said you really wanted them to value art. So what would their stuff that's just for fun look like?
Fun. I think it's kind of a world where people are teaching. So like if someone's really obsessed with creating some kind of woven basket, it's all shared. Like it's very encouraged and normalized that you would learn from somebody else on how to do something and take it back to your pod. Or I think that's a way people spend a lot of time is like wandering over maybe to another neighborhood and seeing what they're up to and learning their ways.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. So teaching, even like traveling teachers.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of even when you produce something new, part of the presentation of it is also a lesson in how it was made. So you wouldn't just like put a basket on display. You would also like maybe have examples of that same basket at different stages.
Yes. Yes.
I like that. I think that they would have a type of art that is based on that tingling sensation that we gave them, where you could build a sculpture out of material that radiates at different frequencies. Like, for us as a human, that would look like putting together a radio emitter and a microwave, and also, like a tiny little bit of uranium together. Yep. And that creates this symphony of different tingles for whoever is standing in front of it.
That's fun. That's like a very immersive experience.
Mm-hmm. What other fun things about this world? Do you think they would have, like, TV shows eventually?
That's what I'm wondering, if they have television. I think storytelling is a big part of this. So, yeah, let's say they have TV and they love TV, but not in, like, a Wall-E way. Just in a, it's a community thing.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. As all of their technology eventually is. So, like, phone or telecommunication, but for community. Television, but for community.
Yeah. It's like PBS. Like, what if Arthur was always on?
Awesome. Okay, well, we are amazingly at the top of the hour. Is there any other aspect of this world that we didn't get to that you'd like to explore more?
I think I just personally want to go to the Crystal Forest.
Yeah.
But no, I think that it feels really chill there, and I'd like to visit.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine that, like, so many people love the Crystal Forest that they start expanding it.
Yeah.
Because you can grow crystals.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You put up a local crystal forest.
Yes. So that would be, like, a scientific area, a discipline that would emerge. Like, they would be really good at studying mineralogy and chemistry out in their environment.
Ooh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm always intrigued by things like religion in these different worlds. And I think that they would probably develop a system of worship, not necessarily around any sort of deity, not anyone who has, like, supreme power over them, because it's a flatter hierarchy. So I don't think they would impose that in their doctrine. But maybe more like ancestor worship.
Yeah.
I can especially see that, there are a few cultures around Africa who see all of the stars as the souls of their ancestors who have departed. And they would just see so many more stars in their world that maybe that's what they do.
Yes.
And so, like, all the ancestors are looking down on them, and the stars are different colors, and they have eyes that can see the different colors, so they can also see, like, the moods of their ancestors.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up last.
Oh, that sounds so sweet.
I know. What a nice little world. And then eventually an alien species is going to come in and kind of shake things up a little bit.
Yes, but that's for the movie.
That's for the movie. And I think they have a strong enough sense of community that they'll be able to withstand any of the consequences.
It's kind of like A Bug's Life.
It's been too long since I've seen A Bug's Life.
Well, it's not quite this, but it feels like it a little.
All right. Something new comes in, but they manage to weather the storm afterwards.
Yeah. They work together with somebody who has a kooky idea.
Good. Well, the Pale Blue Pod listeners know who you are, but you are new to the Exolorists. And I always ask my Exolore guests at the end to brag about themselves and tell the listeners where they can find you online. So, Corinne, brag about yourself.
Well, I'm mostly on Instagram. My handle is, I've never changed it. It's Corinne Intellectual, so it's just intellectual with a C-O-R at the beginning. And I post kind of infrequently. I'm figuring out my relationship to social media again, or like how I want to engage or not, or sell my face or not. But something I'm trying to revive is a Substack I have. I think it's just CorinneCaputo.substack.com. And it's just vintage home decor that I find on Etsy and put together in a weekly or twice weekly list. I haven't been doing it. I've been really busy, but it's something I've really loved making. So I'm trying to fold it back into my life where I have time.
I love that so much. I will include the links to Corinne's pages down in the show notes. Thank you so much for building this world with me. I'm glad
you for having me.
Yay! I'm glad we were able to do this. I love the crossover. I love doing getting 2 for the price of 1 in terms of podcast episodes.
I mean, crossovers were always the best part of Disney Channel. So.
Yes, so true. I love a mashup. Yeah.
Yes.
So hopefully this is also a way to get Exolorists to go and listen to Pale Blue Pod now that they are more familiar with you and they have an idea of what we do over there. But that's all I had about these images, and that's the world.
I love it. Thank you for having me. Thanks, world, for being here. And for the Pale Blue Pod listeners, whatever world you're in right now, I hope you remember that you are space.
Yeah, you are. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Pale Blue Pod was created by Moiya McTier and Corinne Caputo with help from the Multitude Productions team. Our theme music is by Evan Johnston, and our cover art is by Shay McMullen. Our audio editing is handled by the incomparable Misha Stanton.
Stay in touch with us and the universe by following @PaleBluePod on Twitter and Instagram, or check out our website, palebluepod.com. We're a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. If you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live on our website at multitude.productions.
If you want to support Pale Blue Pod financially, join our community over at patreon.com/palebluepod. For just about $1 per episode, you get a shout out on one of our shows and access to director's commentary for each episode. The very best way, though, to help Pale Blue Pod grow is to share it with your friends. So send this episode, this link, to one person who you think will like it, and we will appreciate you for forever.
Thanks for listening to Pale Blue Pod. You'll hear us again next week.
Bye.